Happy day, everyone. Welcome back. I am Ambrosia Carey, the founder of Successful Stylist Academy and podcast. And today, Drea and I are hanging out, and we are going to be talking about building your business through education and why it's so important. So, Drea, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling great. I am a big believer in education and the way that that pours into us and supports our business. We can't, whatever overflows from us is what we're putting in. So I think this is like a huge, amazing topic, and I'm excited to be here.
I know this is a subject I'm really passionate about because you and I both are we're educators by heart and I guess by trade even, but we really are a huge testament to our ongoing successes coming from education. And I think we all know that people say like, "Oh, education's the key to success and education's super important and all that stuff." But like what does that actually really mean? Because the thing is that education, if you're not pulling from it what you're trying to get out of it and you're not putting those things into play, you're not implementing the things that you're learning, then it's arbitrary. It doesn't really actually matter. It's just this thing that's out there looming. And regardless if it's like a technical mindset or ability or a mindset or you want to work on your business or you want to understand your finances or whatever the thing is that you're trying to focus on, I think the key thing is that you are putting small plans into action. You're creating goals surrounding the things that you're trying to go educationally against. And it does so much more than actually us feeling empowered to do something. It's building our confidence. It's helping us with our credentials. It's increasing personal development, even. And it helps with our higher productivity and it refreshes inspiration. So I feel like these are things that we need to focus on a little bit more. And then I think it's also important to talk a little bit about technical is great, but if we don't have the foundational and we don't have the mindset and we don't have the why and we don't have the purpose behind it, it's not going to get us super far. So we need to have that full pie in front of us. So I think that's one of the things that we should probably focus on for today.
No, that sounds great. Yes to everything that you're saying. I definitely have a heart and a passion for education. I mean, we know that we share that. And I hate to say sometimes, but I feel like this is even more for seasoned stylists. And I think we sometimes get to a point where maybe we have it figured out, or our books are full, or we get into the business and we're so excited that we're throwing ourselves into all kinds of different education. And then we kind of get a little set, a little um, maybe confident, which is great, but with confidence can come some type of complacency. So I always try to think of education as returning to my first love. Like when I was super, super passionate, like, what do I want? Like, I want more. I want more and I want more. And at some point in time, I feel like we have to be a little bit more intentional about that. But yes, 100%. I feel like education, like, there's a reason why people say knowledge is power, because it is empowering to continue to pour into yourself and into your craft and into your life and into your character. And I think the biggest and most effective way to do that is through different pieces of education. And I 100% agree with you that it really does have to start with your purpose, with your why, with your communication skills with your client, because that's where it all begins. That's where the trust starts with our clients. That's where we walk into a salon and can connect with the salon owner at the salon that we want to work at. That's how we reach other opportunities within our industry. So I think there's just so much empowerment and opportunity that we get through taking that education path. And as soon as we stop taking that education path and almost stop learning, I feel like it maybe takes a minute, but it really puts a halt on everything personally and professionally that we do.
So I think an important piece that we want to share with you guys is that regardless if you are a commission based stylist, a booth rental stylist, a salon owner, we are all running a business. we're all running a business. We're all in charge of like keeping our clientele. We're all in charge of, making sure that things are running efficiently, effectively, that we're communicating properly, that we're inviting our business to come back in again. So having certain tools that are going to allow us to continue to thrive as a business and be forward thinking is the thing that's going to really get that needle moving, and so that way we can diversify what we're doing and we can do things as efficiently and effectively as possible. And that's something that Dre and I are very passionate about. We want to make sure that we are passing this knowledge on to you guys and that everyone is learning together and that we're all coming together as an industry to do things efficiently, effectively, and in a way that's going to improve our environment, improve our quality of life, improve our industry, improve our standards, right?
Yes. And Ambrosia, you said like right when you started this, you were like, and we're in charge of this and we're in charge of that. And the thing is, we're in charge of a lot. Like the hats we wear, thank goodness I'm a hat girl, have just continued to increase like as our industry evolves and moves forward. And I really think that just makes it the importance of education even more so. And technical is huge. We always want to increase our knowledge on our skills and the things that we can do. But really, I mean, now we've gone into a realm where we're in charge of our books, we're in charge of social media, we're in charge of how we communicate. Like, we're in charge of our bookkeeping, not just our books. So there's just a lot there, which to me is kind of exciting because I like have ADD and get bored really easy. So maybe I don't feel like getting education in one area, but I know that I need that education. So I get to just kind of like, what do I need? What sounds fun? And there's always so many different options on how to get education and what area to go reach for education in, which is kind of exciting to me.
That's a really good point, and that's exactly the reason why Successful Stylist Academy even was formed. I've been teaching for so many years and I love teaching. I love to see when people are actually able to make and create better verbiage surrounding their business, better relationships, feeling more confident, even just getting inspired. I mean, there's a lot to be said for that, and that's a transfer of energy. The biggest piece of it is, it's what you want versus what you need. Sometimes, there's things that we want where we're like, I'd love to learn that new coloring technique, or I'd love to learn placement, or I'd love to learn. And that's for our inspiration. That's where our creativity comes in. That's where we feel ourselves. So it's more for us than it is for our clients. Do our clients get something out of it? Absolutely they do. But they get out of what we're giving to them as well. Like we are finding solutions for them. We are taking care of them. We are inspiring them too. So we're passing it on to them. But the other part of it is what we actually need too. And sometimes it's not super sexy. Sometimes it's not actually something that we really want necessarily. A lot of times it's something that we're kind of like procrastinating on and we're putting off, or we're saying, oh, we'll do it another time. But it's there looming. We know it's there. And so that is the biggest piece that we want to talk about, because Successful Stylist Academy is not just a one and done course. It is an experience. It is community driven. It is something to support your ongoing education. It's something to support your thoughts. And there's no one cookie cutter way of doing something. It is a way to transfer energy. So if there's a course that you're interested in on the technical side, you also have the option to have something that's going to help you on the business side, on the marketing side, on the development side, because we need to be able to make that whole. We need to be able to make sure that we're supporting the parts that we're kind of running away from or procrastinating on or don't want to do, but is absolutely going to help us with our business, because that is where true confidence comes from, is that knowledge, the power of decision making, the verbiage that we need to have, developing the proper tools in order to maneuver through the consultation, which we're going to talk about in the future. And it's also something that allows us to evolve and grow with our clients as well, because we all know that life gives you promotions and you don't get to take everyone with you, but clients who stick with us for the long haul, clients who stick with us as we have promotions in life, as we grow in life, those are the clients who typically align with us in a very strong way, not on the technical part. It's like, okay, great. So you execute great haircuts and you give her great colors and she likes you. But the root of it is that you guys either align with your core values, or you guys have a personality that meshes really well together. You guys fit one another really well. And that is the beating heart of your business. That is what grows it. And that is exactly what cultivates the right community for yourself as well, right?
Yes, and I mean you talked a little bit about Successful Styles Academy, and I have to go back to that because that Successful Styles Academy, you guys, with the development of it, was something I was immediately drawn to and on board with because it really aligns with my why, which I know aligns with your guys' why and philosophy as hairdressers, because there's no additional motive. There's no product attached to it. There's no tool attached to it. Do we need those things? Are they important? Do we partner with people? Absolutely. But it is about you as the hairdresser, as a person, as an individual, personally and professionally. And there is no part of our craft and what we do, business wise, culture in the salon, growth mindset, the way that we can be better humans and interact with our clients and our peers, along with the full technical side of things that Successful Styles Academy does not, I don't even want to say touch on, does not like fully embrace and offer up skills in with courses, community, and coaching. So I think it's a really amazing thing. I know these were a lot of ideas and thoughts on education and what the importance of it is. So if you don't know where to start, and a really tangible thing that I want to speak about is mentorship. And mentorship, I think, is something that was very prominent in the industry maybe even 10 years or more ago. And it's kind of gotten a little lost, a little diluted as things go forward. And I still think, although it may look a little different, it is still so important because I know you might be thinking, those are all great thoughts and I can look for education, but maybe I'm overwhelmed. There's so much to choose from. And there is. So I feel like having a guide is really, really helpful. So mentorship to me can look, three different ways. And this is where we can get stagnant. I think accountability, again, not a sexy word, is really, really important within our growth cycle. Um, Getting tangible growth skills, having someone who inspires us, and allowing them to guide us through the process. So that's what you would be looking for in a mentor, finding somebody who's doing something really well, maybe a little bit different, or I don't want to say better than you're doing it, but maybe they're just a little ahead of you within where they've been in the industry, and their process. So, mentorship, three different things. You can do it super old school and you can find that person and you can stalk them in a non creepy way. I don't know if those two things go together, but um, you can reach out to them and give them the sincere compliment. Like I kind of fangirl out on you a little bit. Like, I really love how you do this, and that. Like, have you ever mentored someone? Would you be willing to mentor someone? I'm really open to what that would look like, and I would be honored. It's awkward, you guys. It's like asking somebody out on a date, but you can do it that way, and chances are, like, they may be flattered. They may have already mentored somebody. Maybe they haven't mentored in a while, and you guys get to develop what that looks like. Another way that you can go about a mentorship is that you meet someone possibly taking an education course and created that opportunity to build a new relationship. And as that builds, they maybe share something with you, and then they share something else with you. And this friendship, this new friendship, can also grow and develop into a mentorship, especially with the conversation and the communication and just the how the conversation goes, that you are directing it in a way that could become and develop into a mentorship. The third way, speaking of Successful Styles Academy, sometimes we're nervous to take education, whether it's in person or whether it's in a group, and maybe we want to start, like, you know how like you go to work out and you haven't worked out forever and you're like, before I go take this class, I'm going to work out at home for a week by myself, or I'm going to go on some walks or a jog, or I'm going to just go to the gym by myself, because you don't want to show up kind of feeling like you're not on whatever level, which is probably in our own heads, and work out in this like full on workout class. It's kind of the same thing when you decide to take on maybe coaching session or a one-on-one, which is a very specific, intentional, maybe short term, maybe long term mentorship that you're getting through a coach that's going to be guiding you through your goals, customizing with a format that they have, or we already have, or Successful Styles Academy has, that we know works for the hairstylist. So I would really encourage some type of mentorship. Also, any good mentor is going to push you then, once you get to a certain place, to also be a mentor, maybe in a really small way, maybe in a bigger way, to someone else, because it helps us grow. It keeps us from complacency. It makes us push ourselves when we're not just going through the motion, but somebody's watching and someone else is taking in the information that we have. So I feel like that's part of the cycle. Like, that's part of the evolution. Find a coach or a mentor, and then as you move forward, slowly find someone that you can mentor for their growth and to invest in them, and for your own growth and accountability as well.
Beautiful, my friend. I love a good list. So, having those three ways of being able to kind of spread that knowledge is impactful, wonderful, and so relatable. When you were talking about the analogy, what a great analogy with the whole like, I'm going to work out at home or get started with this before I actually go into that class, because you have an expectation of yourself and you feel like this is where you should be, where you're right where you need to be. Everyone has to start somewhere, and everyone's focusing on their own goals, their own self anyway. So, and I can say that right now just because recently started working out at Orange Theory. And when I started, I mean, I had to let them know in the very, very beginning. I was like, listen, this is my COVID weight. I mean, like, walking on the treadmill is my goal right now. It's just like completing the class with still having a heartbeat. That's my goal. So, like, saying it out loud to the instructor made me feel like, okay, just being here is enough for me. And that's what we need to do. Just be there. Just that's all you have to do. Just start out with those small steps. So, as far as lists go, you guys know that I love a good list. I mean, I don't know. For some reason it just helps me organize my thoughts. And by organizing those thoughts, it organizes actionable steps and then it organizes attainable goals. So, I would like to offer a little bit of like a breakdown of the 7 components of success. And this is something that is near and dear to my heart that I feel very passionately about. So for me, success can be broken down into these 7 components. And sometimes you're going to be really strong in like 4 or 5 of them, and sometimes only 2 or 3. So this is something that's constantly moving. This is something that, depending on where your goals are, it might align really strongly with some of these. But these 7 components are pieces that can kind of bring you back when you're feeling a little depleted or lost or confused or frustrated. So, number one, I think it's really important when it comes to, giving back to your own success and in order to grow is being diligent. Diligence can take you so far because everyone will know what to rely on. Everyone wants to know what to expect from you. And if you have appointments with someone who you are going above and beyond for, and then you see your clients that like are your regulars that you see all the time, and then you're not giving them that same level, it's going to start to feel imbalanced, inadequate, and that's how we lose people too. That's how we lose confidence in others. How we lose trust in others. That's how we lose, people can lose faith in us even. So being diligent in our craft is really important. We need to treat it like it's a business. Number 2 is consistency. We always hear that consistency is key, but what does that actually mean? What that means is that we are consistently having conversations with our clients about their goals, and we're consistently treating them a certain way. The exact same what I was talking about before. If you have a brand new client or if you have a client that you've been seeing for years and years, you want to make sure that you have a consistent dialogue, verbiage, you're offering the same things, that you are walking them through the appointments exactly the same. And you need to treat them as if they're the only client that you're seeing, because they are the only client that's sitting in your chair at that time. So they have to be number one. They have to be. And you can't get relaxed on that, because as soon as you do, people feel it. They see it, they know it. And that's the last thing. I mean, this is the last place that somebody wants to come to feel like they're replaceable, that they're nobody. So people look really forward to seeing us. And we have a huge impact in their lives. So we need to treat that with some better responsibility. That happens with consistency. Number three is personality. It's really easy to get caught up in the day to day stuff. It's really easy to get caught up in the technical side of things. It's really easy to want to show up for a client in a way that can feel a little bit rehearsed, or it could even feel a little robotic because we're doing this on a regular basis. But let your personality ring through you. Let yourself be your authentic self with your clients. That doesn't mean that you stop being professional. You can still be professional, but allow your personality to form a better relationship with that client. And that means that you have to stop being too robotic, or get to a place where you're just focusing on the technical stuff, or maybe you're talking about stuff that's totally not related to that person. Personality has to do with your connection, your spirit with another person. And so I know you can't teach personality, but you can certainly lean into your personality a little bit more. And so doing certain exercises that allow you to kind of come out of yourself is absolutely going to help you with it. And sometimes that doesn't happen behind the chair. So getting inspiration from other places, doing things that make you uncomfortable, surrounding yourself with company that is going to bring out the best qualities in you, your top 5 people, all that stuff is what's going to help you pull out the parts of your personality that is going to make deeper connections with your clients. And that's important. The fourth thing is leadership. You don't have to be a business owner, quote unquote, or a salon owner in order to have great leadership. Great leadership just has to do with leading something. That's why it's called leadership. You're leading and directing where things are going. So if we're leading a client behind our chair, we're giving her solid foundational things that she can do at home in order to take better care of her home, of her home, in order to take better care of her hair the way that you're taking care of her. She shouldn't have to enjoy her hair to look amazing one day every 6 weeks. That's ridiculous. We want to make sure that she is feeling like a rock star all the time. So we need to empower her. That's great leadership. Number five is going to be motivation. Motivation is a hard thing to get because that is very personalized, right? So that's the reason why education for us is so huge, because that is a huge part of where motivation comes from. Education is not just a foundational thing that's going to help us with our skill set, but it's also something that ties into our emotional brain. So when you get technical and you get emotional put together in the same place, that's where emotion comes from. That's where that light from inside of us gets to glow. And that transfers over to our clients as well. So if we're staying motivated, then we're also transferring that motivation onto our clients. And it makes our job so much easier and a lot more gratifying. So make sure that motivation is a huge part of that success wheel that you're focusing on. Number six is the most important to me in the whole wide world, and it's communication. We can never over communicate, or wait, no, we can never under communicate. There's no such thing. Over communicate, over communicate, over communicate. I will say that time and time again. This is something that I've learned from my own coaches. This is something that I've learned from, speech therapists. This is something that I've learned from, my own counselor. Communication is a diversity in itself, because even if you feel like you're communicating properly, if the person that you're talking to is not receiving it the way that you're delivering it, then that was poor communication. There was a missed opportunity there. So learning how other people communicate is going to be really big. So focusing on the person that is right in front of you, that's where you get to start every time. It doesn't mean that you have to be a master of communication. Just 2 ears, one mouth. Listen to the client in front of you. Repeat back what you hear. Make her your number one, or him, and or they, them, whoever, just make sure that you're making that person feel heard and understood. That's communication 101. And then the last piece, the number 7, is your skill set. Skill set is important. We can't discount it. Obviously, our technical abilities and what we're doing, but the reason why I made it dead last is because it is, in my opinion, one of the least important parts of having a well-rounded successful business and being able to offer something to our clients and build our business and have people want to come back into our chair and see us. There you have it.
Such good wisdom. I don't know if you guys weren't driving, there was definitely like a lot of note taking tidbits in there. So, God, thank you for sharing that. I mean, that's really priceless. I also feel like good reminders, and there's definitely some little takeaways of stuff that I feel like that I can work on, that I know that we can all work on, which kind of takes me into maybe not as much of a tangible return, but we're talking about education and how important it is. And so I want to touch a little bit on like the return on our investment in education, because I feel like a lot of times when we, especially when we're putting our dollars somewhere, we want to know like, what are we getting for that? It's our time, our energy, and our money. Three really, really big things that we're placing into getting education. So kind of thinking about like, what does that look like on the flip side? Like, what does that look like in the payoff? And the things that stood out and stand out the most to me when I attend education, invest in myself, in my clients, in my craft, all of that. The first thing to me is confidence, because we're in a place where it is so easy with social media to compare ourselves to others, to compare callings, to lose confidence, to lean into performance insecurities, imposter syndrome. So when I place myself in a place of being stretched, meeting new people, and my growth, it builds my confidence. It allows me to get away from those things and refocus um, the new things that I know and the things that I can be confident in what my abilities are. And confidence to me in investing education looks like your skill set, as you mentioned, Ambrosia. Definitely your skill set. Anytime you're taking a class for a color or a haircut, the next time you have a client come in and say they want this or that, instead of getting sweaty palms and armpits and what are we going to do, or I hope there's someone in the back room to help me formulate, we're investing in our skill set, and that's going to build confidence in knowing that we're going to be able to move through that technique with that client in a way that we're going to feel really, really good about. In business, I mean, we do so much with business, and this is a big one for me. I have to always take I don't do good with numbers. So business is something that I always educate myself in, and I'm trying to get better in. And raising prices. How many conversations do we have about, are we charging our worth? Are we charging enough? It's time to raise prices. I haven't raised prices in a decade. Why haven't we? And I think a lot of that is rooted in the lack of confidence that we have in ourselves, in our business, in our craft, in our communication, in our value, in ourselves. And education is an immediate return um, on the investment in those areas. The next thing that brings us into is peace. I mean, the peace from just mixing in the back room and knowing we know exactly how to get the color that we want on our client, the peace of being organized and having those business numbers so they don't come back and bite us in the butt at the end of the year or 5 years later is absolutely huge. So I think investing in our education really gives us a piece in navigating our business within our craft and what we do with our clients in the salon every single day. Education also is going to create opportunity. So, putting yourself out there, you're going to meet people. It's a great way to network. It's a great way for others to meet you, to see your work, to see what you're about. You get to hear them. Ambrosia talked about an exchange. Everything is an exchange. What a great place to create exchange within educational opportunities about people that are like minded and passionate about the same things. You get new ideas here. Within that energy, it really trickles over into eliminating burnout, which is going to affect our clients us getting up in the morning, excited about going into the salon. And I don't ever like to think of education like I'm going to go take a balayage class today and I'm excited and I'm going to learn how to do a new balayage technique. And of course, that's going to be great. And technically, that is going to give us confidence. But I like to intentionally take a moment and be like, I can't wait to see who I'm going to meet today. I'm going to be at my best in a humble, confident way so that I am ready to accept any unexpected blessing coming my way through this exchange and experience. It creates possibilities, and going into it thinking, I'm not just taking a class, I didn't pay for this, so now I'm forced to show up on a Monday where I'd rather sleep in. No, I'm going to set myself for intention of receiving all of the return on the investment that I'm making. So, I hope that that's like a little bit of a different thought or take on it, because I know as we get busy, we can just get really wrapped up in going through the motions inside and outside of education.
So, long story short, regardless if you're going into technical education, personal education, marketing, finance, business, no matter what it is that you're putting your time and attention into, I think the purpose is that you're doing it with intention. I think a good rule of thumb is to always reinvest 5% of your income back into education, because that is what's going to help build 10 times over for your business as well. And even if you don't calculate and see it the direct turn on investment, it has been known to show, because you know how I'm into numbers and stuff, but it is one of those things that helps to build up all the things that we listed beforehand. And it's also something that's going to help you just naturally build your business without even trying to help build that business piece. And it's what's going to keep us inspired. So, and that's something that's really important to us. So, with that said, we do have several courses available in Successful Stylist Academy. We do encourage you to revisit often, because every now and then we have spotlight education pieces that are only $29. I mean, and it's an hour long, you know? I mean, it's something that you can just watch before you start your day out, or you can close your day out with it, or you can revisit it often, but it's something that's available for you. So that is there. And then we've got hair tour, of course, which is another important piece. We have a final bundle that's going to be coming up as a nice little Christmas present to you. It's going to be available for all of 2022. Both courses are going to be available, the technical side and the side that supports your business that we're talking about. You get social media tips, marketing tips, all of that. And so that's bundled in together. We're going to actually put that download available for you in your show notes. So we are here each step of the way, and that's what we mean by each step of the way. We are here to help you with the foundational pieces and the parts that you get stuck on, so that you can continue to keep growing and moving and having a community that can be there to support you. So we want to thank you from the bottom of our hearts being a part of this mission with us. And we are excited to visit another component with this in our very next episode, talking about client growth with consultation. So that's another important piece. So we'll see you guys next week for that.